The official call is under review. Let's go to the monitor.
Welcome back, guys, to the Under Review Podcast, episode 11. I am your host, Todd. Alongside me is my co-host, Marty.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
It is another great week of an SEC packed schedule. More SEC games this week, will totaling about four, I think, SEC matchups. Going to be a good week.
Yeah, I think this is where we're going to start seeing where everybody's at inside the SEC, especially these teams like Missouri, Texas A&M. These midway teams can either help their stock or bring it down or just keep playing, and they're not the team that we expected them to be.
It's that put up or shut up moment here.
Exactly. That's the words I was looking for.
Yeah. As teams are starting to separate themselves inside the rankings, also inside of the stats standings themselves. So moving forward this week and next week, I feel like people are going to, like you said, separate themselves more in this in these coming weeks.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier in the next couple of weeks. We got some really big games coming up, some top 25 matchups later on here in the next couple of weeks. But I think you got to start somewhere, and I think for some of the teams, especially some of our game of the weeks, is really where they can start making that name for themselves, or contenders or pretenders, pretty much.
That's right. Well, first let's go ahead and thank our sponsor. That's Chuck's Heating and Air. For all your HVAC needs, call Chuck.
256-892-2757. 256-892-2757.
That's right. And like I said, we're going into week 4. The start of this week is SEC play. Like I said, there's 4 teams inside the SEC that are playing each other, so we really don't have a lot of games to go over on this episode. More a lot of the stats on the recap will come out. But, as we get started, we'll head down to Lexington, Kentucky, as Ohio takes on the Wildcats. 11:45 SEC Network.
I just, Ohio, they're 2-1. They're not the worst team they're not at the bottom of the barrel of the 134 teams. But Kentucky's right there with them. I think Kentucky is a huge favorite in this game, over 85%, closer to 90%. But can they keep the momentum going from the Georgia game? As I don't think they played lights out, but they put Georgia on the ropes for 4 quarters. Just want to see how that translates to this game, if they got that out of their system, or it's the team that they're supposed to be that high caliber team, with only being 1-2 so far starting the season.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, I feel like Louisville in this, or not Louisville, good Lord, where did that come from? Here we go, starting
right.
Kentucky in this game looks to be the favorite.
Definitely.
An 18-point favorite in this game over Ohio, who is, like we said, is 2-1, lost to Syracuse week 1, then come back and beat South Alabama, and then I don't know who that next team is.
Well, see, that's crazy. They beat South Alabama, but didn't South Alabama put up like 85 points?
87 points this past week.
Wow. That's
second
crazy
most
there.
in FBS history. The first was 1994 Fresno State.
Yeah, I thought there was a line there, but that's for even regardless who you're playing to put up that many points. I mean, heck, Tennessee had 65 in the first half.
They could have
last week, so most definitely.
I feel like this game shouldn't be close if Kentucky comes out and plays like they did last week against Georgia. I'm giving it to Kentucky.
Right. I think Vandergriff can step up here. Right now for the season, he's 29 for 55 on 313 yards, only 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The yards don't really show that, but I think this is a game that he could work himself on. Make better plays to get him better going. and a little help from his receivers could really be big for them moving on further in the season.
Wild stat. I know me and you talked about it earlier this week. Brock Vandergriff ranks 17th, the 17th quarterback in passing yards in the SEC, and there's only 16 teams. The bad part about that is there's some teams that are even lower than him. The team. So, and like I said, the ones ahead of him literally are 16 are Arch Manning, 15 is Hank Brown, 14 Lenore Sellers, 13 Jackson Arnold, 12 Peyton Thorne, 11 is DJ Lagway. Graham Mertz is actually 18th on this list. And then 10, right now, the 10 is Diego Pavia. So, I mean, he needs to step up because, it's a pretty bad stat to have.
Yeah.
But,
some of that may not be home. Maybe receivers, maybe the offensive line. But if you're going to be this top-tier ACC quarterback, you have to find ways to make that work for you and for your team. So, I mean, with the blowout looming, I'm going to take the Wildcats here. Just hopefully they don't shoot themselves in the foot and end up being terrible.
Yeah, give me the Wildcats in this one as well. Like I said, that's 11:45 kickoff on SEC Network. The UCLA Bruins make the long travel down to Baton Rouge to face the number 16 LSU Tigers, 2:30 ABC.
I think Kentucky has something to prove this game. I know they're heavily favored, but can they clean up their mistakes from the South Carolina game, which there were a few, and hopefully it won't be decided by the officiating in all this. As far as Nussmeier, I think he could also play better. I mean, still 10 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions this year and rounded out close to 900 yards in passing. I think he can do more, and he should be able to do more against this lower caliber UCLA team at where they stand at 1-1.
Right. So my headline for this one is give Garrett Nussmeier on the 1,000-yard train. Him and Jackson Dart are right there fighting that, for our under review stat standing leaderboard. Definitely think he'll make that 1,000-yard list this week.
I definitely think he can as well.
Like I said, numbers are 88% in favor of the LSU Tigers, which are at home, so it's kind of hard to go against LSU. Don't matter how bad the team is, but when they're playing at home in Death Valley, it's hard to bet against the Tigers.
Yeah, that's a 2:30 game. That's still not a night game, but still, regardless, 11 o'clock game, 3:30 game, 6 o'clock game is still Death Valley. And like I said, I don't think LSU has anything to prove, but they need to clean their ball game up and get Nussmeier in that 1,000-yard club, which I think he'll do.
Yep. Like I said, LSU 22.5-point favorite over the UCLA Bruins. Should be a good one on the books, just I figure when everything's all said and done, LSU should come out on top with really no escape in this one.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll see going forward how everything works out. But give me LSU in this one as well.
Yeah, definitely take the Tigers here, and hopefully Brian Kelly can move his things around and get the right pieces where they need to be for this LSU team.
Right. The Bowling Green Falcons travel down to 25th ranked Texas A&M. 6:30 kickoff on SEC Network. Like I said in the recap of last week, how in the world is Texas A&M ranked?
Yeah, and the crazy part for us is I don't remember I've watched any Texas A&M games, and I don't know if you have, but I don't see it. I mean, yes, they're heavily favored in this game as well. Marcel Reed had a tremendous game. Of course, Kyle Field's going to be packed for this game, as it always is. I think that's a pretty tough place to play. But it just, I don't know. Because I thought they struggled earlier in the year,
especially
after
with Notre Dame.
taking the loss there. And then now we all know Florida State is one of them barrel teams that we have this year. And then, of course, McSeed State. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Maybe if I watch the game, it can prove me wrong. Again, Marcel Reed is a really good thing they've got going right now. So, if that stays on, maybe his play is better than what I've seen.
I mean, I'm going to give it to the Aggies because the Falcons are 1-1 on the season. They ain't really played great ball. It's a game for Texas A&M to quote unquote raise their stock inside the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing to write home about. This is one of the games you should win.
Most definitely, yeah. It's same as we talked about in the LSU game. This should come in, maybe not Tennessee numbers like they had last week, but then again, I think it's a game you can work on stuff. Work on.
They need to work on stuff.
Most definitely, Marcel Reed. This will be his second collegiate start.
Yep.
Right. So I think there's some things to work on, and I don't know. Not that Tennessee or Texas A&M has anything to prove here, but I just don't see it. Maybe I'm not seeing. Le'Veon Moss is a heck of a running back. So
yeah, correct.
I don't know. Maybe I need to watch more of their games, and maybe I'm doing a disservice to not knowing much about A&M.
I mean, we don't need to watch them and have a heart attack. So, I mean, that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not like watching South Carolina LSU last week. Yeah, but again, on this one, give me the Aggies. I think this should be a cupcake walkthrough.
Yeah, give me the Aggies as well on this one. 6:30 on ESPN Plus as the Aggies face Bowling Green. Akron travels down to South Kakalaka to face the South Carolina Gamecocks. 6:30 ESPNU.
Now, Akron, ain't they the Zips or something like that?
Yep, the Zips.
What kind of mascot is that? Like a zipper?
Not necessarily. Well, God, I hope not, at least. But I couldn't really tell you what it is. I just know it's a zip. I don't know.
Like a rabbit, or because I think some of their scheme is not scheme, but like some of their helmet design looks like a rabbit or a Alice in Wonderland, something or another. But anyway, to me, honest opinion here, South Carolina should be 3-0. I think that was a travesty last week at LSU. Really got my blood steaming. South Carolina, I think they're maybe not a top tier SEC team in that top 4 or 5, but they're good enough to be a mid right there that could push it over with wins later on in the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. South Carolina's sitting at 3-0 right now in my book, But LSU, that game just pissed me off, honestly.
Oh, most definitely. Just like I said, if you listen to the post show for last week, that I was steamed up. Brittany was getting on to me about it, but still, it's just because I think both of us have, for that game especially, that we have just a passion for the sport, for the not per se the underdog in that one, but just a really good ball game that you get me on my soapbox already 13 minutes in.
Right.
But no, back to I think South Carolina come in. I think Sellers is going to play big. Rocket's going to play big. This could be a walk-in game. Maybe they clean up some of their alleged penalties. But yeah, some were good, some were bad. Again, this is going to be another walkthrough.
Yeah, so like I said, give me South Carolina. Rocket, big game. If Sellers plays a big game, I haven't really saw anything as of today. Still nothing on him or Robbie. I've definitely seen a lot of stuff about people just bashing Robbie. But, I mean, you don't constantly get playing time. And I don't know if he's working on his game or not. I mean, obviously it don't look like it. Love the man himself, but I mean...
Yeah, like I said, when he was down at Auburn, I actually got to meet with him, talk with him, just a great guy. And I think he did have flashes. I think some of his decision-making can be up or down that we seen play at Auburn. That last drive that he had for the Gamecocks was really good. It got them down there in field goal range, which we know how that left us out. But I don't see a problem. Whether it's Robbie or Sellers who plays here, I think it's going to be still a South Carolina win. A kangaroo, really?
Zip is a kangaroo. Zippy the kangaroo.
Well, bite me a cup.
Biscuits and call me Chunky.
Call me diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah, again, so like I said, just to finish up on that one, South Carolina, no matter who plays, Rockets should have a good game. And I think if the quarterback situation struggles, they can rely on him to get them to that 3-1 spot.
Which they should. I'd say as well. I'll say South Carolina in this one.
Yes.
Georgia State has no chance in the world as they travel down to number 5 Ole Miss and them Jackson Dart Ole Miss Rebels. 6:45 SEC Network.
Yeah, my say on this one I had was Georgia State is actually getting to play a really good SEC team now. So after they beat Vandy the other week, it looked like they had just won the national championship the way they celebrated, which I guess is good for kids who will never see that level of play. But no, they're really going to get a taste of SEC here. Dart, 400 plus, 3 touchdowns, unless they take him out.
Well, see, you're talking about Georgia State beating Vanderbilt. This is Georgia Southern.
Well, I can't even write notes.
No. This is the team that Tyler Fromm transferred to.
Okay. Well, all my stats on that are just CRAP. Well, but anyway, nothing changes. Yeah, nothing changes here as far as Ole Miss is still 97% chance to win, which gives the Eagles only a 2.9 chance.
It could happen.
I can't believe I fumbled that ball right there just as good as...
Give me Ole Miss. Give me the Rebels. Give me the Black Bears. Give me the Land Sharks. Whatever they're called. Jackson Dart. 415.
Yeah, that's 415, a couple touchdowns. Unless they
Henry Parrish Jr., 150 rushing yards. Trey Harris, 115 receiving yards.
Yeah, I do like the way that sounds. Whether it's Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Georgia A&M, Georgia Tech, it's still. I think it's still going to be the same here.
Ole Miss by 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't foresee Georgia Southern just any attempt in this game. But when that comes to it, we'll check in. If it somehow over happens, we'll see. But like I said, give me Dart for about 4:15.
Yeah, hey, go ahead and play that little music I want to play for this one.
This one?
Not really that one, the creepy one.
Oh. Wrong lever, Crunk.
Get the lever, Crunk. Guys, it's everybody knows that this is already going to be the nightmare game of the week. And whether if it's close or a blowout, both the teams are at the bottom of the barrel. You'll notice on our graphic for Facebook, I mean, I said, could be our nightmare of the game of the week, but I think it is. Both teams have found nothing all year that really outwins the other. And if you look at the stats, I mean, it's still a 50-50 game with Florida having that chance to win. But their quarterback struggles and Lagway and Mertz, and I think even on the Mississippi State side with, what is his dadgum name? Blake Shapen.
Yeah.
I think Shapen could excel a little bit more here. So I'm not sure my pick yet, but I want to watch it to see the trash can fire that it's going to be.
Right.
But then I don't want to waste that 3 hours when I can actually be doing homework like on Texas A&M or something.
Or judge Georgia Southern, not Georgia State.
Yeah, I mean, I could, yeah.
So let me go in here. 52% chance for the Florida Gators. That's pretty much why I hit the upset alert, because I'm leaning towards the Mississippi State Bulldogs in that situation. Mississippi State, to me, shows me a better team than the Billy Napier-led Florida Swamp People.
I most definitely agree with that. I just over I mean, I know that's the way the numbers look, but the more I thought about it, I think Shapen has excelled a little bit more than the quarterback situation in Florida. And now I think maybe if he gets in his mind or what it is, but I think Shapen can be that leader moving forward once they can. Oh, there's Napier himself. I'm surprised he just hadn't busted into flames yet.
Right.
But anyway, like I said, I like the Bulldogs here. I don't think it's really an upset because I think even matter who wins, both teams are still at that bottom of that barrel.
Yeah. It's Florida is favored by 5 points in this game, which to me, like I said, I don't understand how you can look at the games played. Now, they're both 1-2. Florida's 0-1 in the conference after losing last week to Texas A&M, Mississippi State, first conference game of the year. But on paper, they're both 1-2. Granted, if you take the losses from Florida and the losses from Mississippi State, that's maybe where they're getting these numbers from. Mississippi State is a better team, offensively, defensively wise, on the paper itself and the stats, than this Florida Gators team. So I don't understand where they're coming at with these numbers. So give me Mississippi State.
Yeah. Again, give me Mississippi State. Unless they got some kind of magic quarterback or a magic potion or some of that Michael Jordan juice from Space Jam. I think, and I'm so shocked as you and I've talked about this 2 or 3 times this week. I'm surprised Napier is still in Florida.
So I don't know how he's got this far, but maybe another week.
Yeah, like we talked about, they had that big booster meeting Monday or whoever was meeting, and I'm just surprised him and Mike Norvell ain't kicked out of Florida by the end of the week.
Like I said, maybe they're giving it one more week. Who knows? Like I said, that Florida-Mississippi State game is at 11 o'clock on ESPN. So get your popcorn ready, get your hard candy ready, or get you something to throw.
Shot glass or something for that game.
Yeah. The Arkansas Razorbacks travel down to Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, 2:30 ESPN.
I think out of all the games we got this week, not because I'm an Auburn fan, I think this is going to be the best match game that we have. I think it's going to be a measuring stick game for both teams. As far as can Arkansas overcome just a few struggles they had against Oklahoma State, and for Auburn to see Hank Brown, if he was not just a one-time playing against the worst team, and see how he can adjust. I think that besides the game of the week, I think this is the best matchup in the SEC.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Like we said, from a football standpoint, Florida-Mississippi State game, snooze fest. The next game we have coming up had a potential to be a really good game. And then all the foreseen circumstance happened last week, so it kind of drove me away from that game being the top 2 game of this week. And then also our game of the week, which, as we see fit, is the number 1 game inside the SEC. That's why it is the Under Review Podcast game of the week.
Right.
Now, going back to Auburn, there is some questions. The offensive line, the corners, how will Hank Brown do in SEC play? A lot of questions to be answered. Now you flip it over to the Arkansas side, their questions are already answered. They have a running back. Their defensive line is good, Their offensive line could use some work, and their quarterback could use some work. So there's questions on both sides, and like you said, it's a measuring stick game. How far can these teams really go inside the SEC?
Right, and I think it's going to be a good matchup with Taylor Green, Hank Brown, Jaquindon Jackson, Jacquez Hunter. I think that's going to be the 4 key players for this offensively now. The 4 key players that are their input and output for this game is really going to be that measure stick that you need, I think, to get this win.
Yeah,
I think. What was Auburn favored here?
Auburn's favored. It's a 59% to 41. Auburn's favored by 3 in this game.
Okay, that's. I think it's going to be a close ball game. Whether it's the Razorbacks or the Tigers that win, I think it's going to be good. My out by spin, but I'd love to see Auburn. Me personally, I'd love to see Auburn come out and drop another 50 points. I don't think that's definitely not going to happen. I think Auburn's defense is going to have to step up against Jackson. That defensive line's going to be more present. Kendrick Falk's going to have to take the reins,
Right.
and get them focused there. But not an upset. I think it's like, again, the best game that we've got besides our game of the week. So non-biased, still give me Auburn here.
Give me Auburn as well. Like I said, man, the wife are headed down to Jordan-Hare Stadium this weekend for this great matchup, and hopefully we can get some little more insight while we're there and everything. Just
you gonna buy me something?
buy me something.
Come on, man.
Maybe a little program if you find one. I always like the programs, but yeah, it's going to be it's a great measuring stick game because these two teams, coming into this year, we didn't have good faith in Arkansas, and we figured in this situation Auburn would be sitting at 3-0. So now you got to look back at this SEC game as where can we actually make it? Where can we finish in the SEC? It starts right here at this game for both teams.
Oh, most definitely for both teams. It's, again, the measuring stick game. Like I said, check the graphics out when they get posted. It's really, really going to be a good ball game.
Agreed.
Is that the SpongeBob alarm?
Vanderbilt travels down to number 7 Missouri to face the Tigers. 3:15 on the SEC Network.
Again, as everybody knows, I'm not drinking the Mizzou Kool-Aid. I'm not going to Jim Jones here. But I think this is a big identity game for both teams. I think, if Mizzou is going to be this number 7 team that they're alleged to be, they're going to have to come out and swamp Vandy. But I don't think Vanderbilt's going to let that happen. Yes, they are huge favorites in this. The Tigers are. But hopefully the defense can come through and put a stop to this Mizzou team, who they're a mid-level team, but they've found their way to the number 7 position until, like I said last week, until they show me they deserve a higher than a top 10 ranking, they're still going to be on the side for me.
So a little bit of the numbers here. Missouri's an 88% favorite in this game over Vanderbilt's 11%. Missouri is also a 21-point favorite as well. Could be a big game for Mizzou. Yes. Was Vanderbilt playing a little bit distracted, looking towards this week, end up losing last week? I say yes. Definitely, Vanderbilt was looking forward to Missouri. Hey, we have a chance to go into Memorial Stadium next week and upset a top 10 team, solidifying our great season that's here to come. They overlooked Georgia State last week and then got beat. So I think there was a little planning ahead for Missouri and then got swamped.
Right, and who would have ever thought, without that Georgia State loss, that Vanderbilt being 3-0 coming into this game?
Which would have been the first time since 2017.
Yeah, I think it can be close, and I think maybe late that Mizzou stretches it out. Like I said, I'm not drinking their Kool-Aid, but by the numbers, it's going to be the Tigers. But I hope Vanderbilt can stay in there and show us what they are, and Pavia can have a good game and get some of his stuff worked out. But and you said this was a 3:15 game, so that coincides with my Auburn stuff. But beside the point, I think it can be a really good game if Vandy can keep it close. But if not, Mizzou's going to walk all over them.
Give me Vanderbilt. Not so fast, my friend. Give me the Commodores in this one.
There's nothing more that I want to see Vandy win, but I think Mizzou, it's just going to be too much. Vandy's going to struggle. But if they don't, I'll wear a Vandy hat or something.
I don't even think they sell those.
Yeah, they do. They're called them brown paper sacks.
Oh, I thought those were Texas.
Well, no, they just sent a shipment out to Florida and Mississippi State. So
right, that one. Oof. Well, let's just head on down. Like I said, give me Vanderbilt this game. I like an underdog. I like the underdog story. I want Vanderbilt to make a bowl this season.
Are they in our pick'em for this week?
They should be. Yeah, definitely they are.
So we'll see, because I know I differed. I think I didn't want to per se pick them, but I picked Mizzou, and that'll separate us in our pick'em.
Yeah. As y'all don't know, me and co-host Marty are 1-2 in the pick'em, so we're kind of battling out for first right now, and I'm like 2 games back, trying to make up ground anywhere I can.
Oh, we both got squashed last week with the amount of, I won't say missed picks because we were so close in 4 or 5 of them games, but
Right.
all right, let's get on the road.
The number 12 Utah Utes travel down to Corvallis as we meet again in Corvallis as the 14th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys kick off at 3 on Fox.
This is our second game with Oklahoma State, which I've always kind of been a fan. I've used them in some of my college football stuff. But again, I'm ready to watch Ollie Gordon. I think this is going to be a really good, close matchup. Numbers are similar. OSU is still a 60.3 favorite over a 39.7%. Give me some of them stats on their players there.
All right, so this is one of the oldest quarterback matchups that you're ever going to see inside college football. And that's Cam Rising, a 25-year-old quarterback from the Utes, and a 24-year-old Alec Bowman, quarterback from the Cowboys. 2 of the oldest quarterbacks inside college football today. I think it's like 49 or something like that years old combined, and the other average is like 30-something.
Wow.
So really, they've been in the league for a minute. Cam Rising on the season's 18 for 29, 346 yards with 7 touchdowns. Alec Bowman is 75 for 112 for 967 yards with 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Then Ollie Gordon, 62 carries, 216 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's always great to watch him just run the ball.
Oh, he is so dynamic. I'm not comparing him to Barry Sanders, but ain't that where Barry Sanders played, was OSU?
Should be. Sounds like it. You sound right.
I think so, but I do. He's explosive. He makes some quick cuts. He's really fast. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game when it comes down to it at 3 o'clock. I know last week Cam Rising did not play. He was hurt. So going into this game, if he can stay healthy and if he can get out there, it could be a very great game. Utah is the favorite in this game by 2. Or no, Oklahoma State, 2.5-point favorite, excuse me. So they're saying it's a toss-up. It's a 12 versus 14 matchup, but give me the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, as well. I can't think of their mascot, that big-headed Pistol Pete. Shoot the guns off. I'm going to take the underdog here, parlay by number-wise. I want the Cowboys as well.
Well, like I said, by number-wise, they're the favorite.
Yeah, but they're a 14 versus 12.
Yeah,
so.
Right. So that's one of the things that I don't get. How can you be lower in the rankings and then be a favorite in this game? Which it don't make any sense.
Well, nothing in college football this year makes a whole lot of sense.
You're about right on that one. I just looking at it, it just throws me off when you look at numbers like that and all that scenario, because you would think hey, we're the 12th seed, we should be favored in this game. I'm having technical difficulties over here.
That's nothing new. Look, I did figure out if on your screen I can make my screen bigger on this side.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you earlier.
Well, no, you have to do the pinch and pull thing.
Oh. Yeah. Well, let's get into our Under Review podcast game of the week.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
The URP game of the week, sponsored to you by Chuck Seaton and Air, is the number 6 Tennessee Volunteers going down to Oklahoma and Norman to face the 15th ranked Oklahoma Sooners, 6:30 ABC.
Yeah, I think most definitely for ACC play-wise, this is the only reason it's the game of the week. A top 25 matchup to begin with. Tennessee, explosive offense. Oklahoma's, they've played really well to be both teams still at 3-0. And like I said at the beginning, this is one of them separation games.
Yeah, I agree. 6 Tennessee could just solidify their great season right here. Granted, it's a 15th ranked Oklahoma team that hasn't proved anything, honestly. 71% of the matchup predictors picking Tennessee over the Sooners, which I could agree nonetheless. a 7.5-point favorite for the Tennessee, which I think is a little low.
As well.
Just because the way they're pulling out numbers, granted not playing great teams, but had great numbers against you, NC State 2 weeks ago. So give me the Volunteers in this game. The Carter checkerboard all the way. You know, I don't see Jackson Arnold and this team having a shot in this game. I really don't.
Yeah, well, with it being the game of the week, they're supposed to be close, but I think Tennessee comes out and does what Tennessee's done all year. Granted, like you said, against Chattanooga, NC State, and Kansas State, that they've put up phenomenal numbers, you know, at 65 points and a half. You know, I think they recommend them do 10-minute quarters, but, you know, Kansas State said they weren't going out like that.
Hey, I give it to them. They got the cojones.
So they kicked the field goal in 168-0. Again, I like Tennessee. I hopefully it can be a close game, but I don't think so. As Sir Nico goes in and just rips that defense apart.
Well, as we have our picks, we also have a guest picker this week. The guest picker is no other than your daughter, Kellanee.
Sweet baby, grumpus, sissy, whatever mood she's in.
Right. So, like I said, this is a previous recorded because, you know, the way we record, we're not able to get a hold of people at certain times because of the times we're able to record because of our schedules. So this is a previous recorded of our guest picker picking our Under Review podcast game of the week.
So, Todd, I know our picks are in now, but I got a special guest that I think she may have a fun take on it. So I'm going to introduce the daughter and niece to the podcast. This is Kellanee.
Hello.
Sissy, how old are you?
8.
And who's your favorite football team?
Auburn.
You like Auburn?
Yeah.
Well, all right. This week's game of the week is number 6 Tennessee versus number 15 Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is going to play at home. That means Tennessee people got to drive all the way to Oklahoma to play. So I've got a picture of you. What's the two mascots' names?
Smokey and Boomer.
Boomer. Good job. All right. So who do you think is going to win this ball game?
Tennessee.
Why do you think Tennessee's going to win?
Because they're number 5.
They're number 5?
Yeah.
And they got a really good quarterback, don't they?
Yeah.
All right. What do you think his name is? Can you say his name for me?
Yuki. Illinois.
Elite. Me and Uncle Todd can barely say it, but it's Nico Iamaleva. Is that silly?
Yeah.
So our guest picker this week is Kellanee, and you said you want Tennessee to win?
Yeah.
How many points you think Tennessee will score?
35.
35? All right, how many do you think Oklahoma's going to score?
27.
27? All right. You heard it first.
Very, very interesting take on that one. Just her saying Nico LMNPO or whatever she said cracked me up.
You know, the crazy, her numbers are not too far off. I think Tennessee's going to put more on the board.
Yeah, I say around 48 or so in that sense. I say about 48-21 maybe.
But it'll blow my mind if this game is way closer than it should be.
That it will. It's just because, like I said, I couldn't see it taking any other route than that.
Right, like us. You know, Oklahoma's strong defense. I mean, they've already got 11 sacks for this season. So, I think they can put a little bit of pressure on Sir Nico, but that high-powered offense really is a well-oiled machine. So I think it's going to be a good game, top 25 game as well.
But yeah, give me Nico LMNPO and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Right. Well, I mean, that's our games for the week. You know, of course, we like the feedback. Our 2 buys is Georgia and Alabama. So, what do they need to work on before their matchup next week?
Well, Georgia really needs to work on their defense, and the offensive line will look like Alabama. Stay steady where you had it at Wisconsin. But just find some more plays for your explosive wide receivers, as in Ryan Williams and Prentice and Law and, you know, all these kids. If you do that, Alabama, you could walk out of there as winners. Georgia, you step up at defense a little bit. Trusting Carson Beck more, which is kind of hard when you have nobody to throw to.
Hey, man.
Yeah. But then if Georgia does that, Georgia's walking out of Bryant-Denny next week with a dub. So
yeah,
very interesting matchup next week.
I think so, and you don't have to see the writing on the wall that's going to probably be the game of the week. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it, not to have a spoiler for the next episode or whatnot.
It's kind of not hard to, like you said, it's the writing on the wall. It's just two best teams.
Yeah,
top 5 matchup.
Yeah, hopefully I can find another guest picker. I think I got one in mind. Hopefully our schedules can work out.
Yeah, I think we got one in mind. Like I said, it's just going to have to be the way we can get on with it.
Right. Well, I know his schedule is crazier than both of ours, but
yeah, ours combined.
Right. Like I said, we're about it close to wrapping up. Did you want to go over the code word or?
Yeah, the code word for this week is TWL TEL. 2 episodes left. This one and another one to get your name in that hat for the secret giveaway, which is a hat and t-shirt combo. We're still working on that, but it's TEL. 2 episodes left. Get in there, trying to get some of this gear out. And like I said, if some of the gear comes out and you didn't get it, contact us and we'll give you a price on it and we'll get that stuff made to you and sent to you as soon as possible. But from what I've seen, they're going to look really good. We're still working with the concept and the lady that's doing them. So,
Yeah. Well, that's perfect there. Like I said, I think we've got a really good slate of games this week. As far as jumping into SEC play, we're kind of putting our water with the 3 or 4 matchups we got. But then next week it's going to be really explosive. I think it's all SEC. Maybe besides a game here and there.
Because we've got 1 or 2.
Well, the thing is 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 teams on bye next week. So
short episode next week.
Yeah, we're going to have to find some. Well, I think we can, if we could jump into some of them little quick hits that I sent to you earlier. Yeah. Just
I agree.
A whole lot of fan participation coming up.
Definitely going to need it next week. So if y'all hear this episode and the next episode after that, which, like I said, that episode we'll be announcing the winner. So you have to listen to find out who won.
Right. So get involved. Jump on the Facebook. Use your code words. Like and share. We appreciate all the help and boosting the podcast. Keeping our numbers up, and really just making this a fun time for everybody.
Yeah, and like I said before we go, we also want to thank our sponsor one last time, Chuck's Heating and Air, for being one of the greatest sponsors and one of the best heating and air men around that we can ask for, keeping us warm in the winter and cold during the summer.
You have to slow down and say that in your head before you actually say it, before you mess it up, because I do it all the time.
In the winter, but...
Right. All right, fans. So just call Chuck, 256-892-2757. 256-892-2757.
And like I said, before we get out of here and get each other the wrap up, thank you to our sponsor. Like I said, thank you to our buddies at the Dad Pod, Hunter and Nicholas Adams. Thank you to the Hayden Coker Show and HCS Media. Thank you to Judd Dickinson and Brandon Trumbull for everything that y'all done for us so far and helping us with everything. We appreciate y'all.
The crazy part about Brandon and Judd, for some reason this week, I think last week was Brandon's birthday. I had a long phone call with him, and I had a long phone call with Judd last night or Sunday night or whatever about some upcoming stuff we got for him. It's good to talk to him. I think me and Judd talked 45 minutes, close to an hour. And Brittany came in and was like, "You going to bed?" I said, "I'm on the phone." She said, "You've been on the phone an hour."
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys. Y'all do a lot more than you know by helping us out here and there. Even if it's just a conversation about football, it always puts other
ideas in my head.
Right, exactly. Because the other night I couldn't sleep, man, and all I thought about was podcast stuff, like that stuff I talked about with Judd and some other people reaching out for sponsorships and stuff like that. So, we got some good things coming. We hope the content's where you want it. If there's something you want to see, please jump to our Facebook, hit us up on our phone, however you need to reach out to us. And I did. I talked to Brian.
Oh,
He
yeah.
called me up. Did you talk to him?
I haven't yet. I've been trying to. Haven't yet, but we'll talk about that off the air.
Right.
But because we're getting towards that little second. So, like I said, thank you, everybody. Remember, as always, God loves you. We love you here. Have a great week. God bless. And always remember, keep your flag handy. Thank you.
Thanks for making the call to go under review. Join us next time as we go to the monitors. Until then, keep your flag handy.